Get to know some of the youngest Gulls.
Either chicken farm or a nice steak.
Goalie Jeff Glass shares his story.
When we were coming down the stretch, I remember thinking to myself, this is something pretty special here.
And the Gulls' hometown heroes continue to make San Diego a better place. That and plenty more on the latest edition of Gulls All Access. For Carrick, wrap around. Hello and welcome to Gulls All Access presented by California Coast Credit Union. My name is Andy Zilch with BJ McPherson, and we will look back at the week that was. We'll preview this upcoming week. And BJ, let's talk about the week that was. The Gulls go to San Jose. They pick up four possible points. They welcome in the Henderson Silver Knights, and they take 3 of 4 possible points. Overall, as we reflect on that past week, it was pretty productive for the club.
Oh, it was one of the best weeks you're going to have. They almost went perfect, going 8 for 8 in points. They end up getting 7 of 8 in points, going down at the very end against that Henderson team. But I'll tell you what, Andy, the way the team's playing right now is how you want your hockey team getting ready for the nitty-gritty, ready for playoff hockey. The last 2 games against that Henderson team was playoff hockey.
Is Henderson the best club that we've seen this year, do you think?
I do think so. The way they play a smothering form of hockey, their system, the way the coaching gets them, even like killing penalties, they don't sit back in a box. 5-on-5, when you pick up the puck, I commented out there, it was like real estate. You don't have much time. They take away that time and space. It's a tough team to play against. You gotta be on it, putting Chris Pass going on the tape. They're hard to play against.
Where does Bakersfield sit in your eyes on the competition that's funneling down here against the Gulls on the last stretch of the season?
They're a team streaky, and when they're hot, they're tough to play against. You know, you just got to shut down their big guys like Marody, Benson. If you can get those guys shut down, you got a good chance of beating them.
Well, the team went to San Jose. They played with the captain, Sam Carrick, and then he goes back up to the taxi squad. We've talked about this extensively on the radio broadcasts, but in your eyes, out of the past 3-4 weeks, who has stepped up in the absence of Sam Carrick?
Well, for older guys, that's Agazzino and Lettieri. When they're in the lineup, it's like having Sam Carrick. You know, Paul Oralski, obviously, he's one of those guys. Those 4 guys are the key contributors to the offense. But what I really like lately is Bo Gru, Limoges, guys like that, Kindop. These are the guys that are getting it on the second and third lines, really contributing. When you can get goal scoring from your second and third lines, you're going to go an awfully long distance in the playoffs.
It seemed like last year the Gulls had the best goaltending tandem in the league with Stolars and Boyle. This year, a complete 180. You get 2 rookies, Dostal and Eriksson Ek, and they're guided by the veteran Jeff Glass. Do the Gulls again have the best goaltending duo in the Pacific Division?
You know what? I can't even hesitate. I can't see another team better than these 2 guys. I love Dostal, and the way he even spoke after the game, he was very, still very professional about it and wanted to look back at the film on a goal that went up high over his shoulder. The only 1 goal in the game. You know, the way he plays, it's like a 10-year veteran against Eriksson Ek. Here's another guy who comes out there, and just his ability, one of the saves he made in the last game against Henderson, he was in the complete splits and was able to get a deflection going the other way. His body's going one way, and just his flexibility. These 2 goalies are really awesome to watch. And then you talk about Stolars up there. You know, a lot of depth in goaltending.
The Tucson Roadrunners come in this weekend, a pair of games. It's the last time that we'll see them during the regular season. It doesn't matter where Tucson is in the standings. I know we say that a lot with other teams, but more specifically with Tucson, they're the 2nd worst team in the division, but they play the Gulls so well. How do you think the team needs to prepare for Tucson?
You know, it's funny when you say that, because throughout years, you're going to have a team that, is a lot low in the standings than you are, but you just have a tough time playing against them. And it's just the matchup, the way it goes. You know, Kevin Waugh, who used to be here, he just loves playing against the Gulls. I think he had like a 4-point night and then a 3-point night the next one. What the Gulls need to do is stick to their systems, not go and play the way another team plays. You shouldn't worry too much about them. Stay with your system and let them, you know, fall back against their game, but stick to their system. The Gulls system, I think, is the way to go.
BJ McPherson, we appreciate your time here on Gulls All Access. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Andy.
This season has provided opportunities for younger players in the organization. And since I'm in the bubble with these players, I've had an opportunity to get a crash course on some of the younger players I've been calling throughout the season, and we'll get to know them in Rookie Rapid Fire.
Like soccer and hockey too, and just hang out and do something else than hockey. I like the sushi is super nice. Mexican food too. That's my two go-tos right now. Yeah, I had a In-N-Out. It's not my favorite, but I'm more of a Five Guys guy.
Outside the rink, I like to go to movies and hang out with friends mostly.
What's like a movie genre that you really enjoy?
Comedy.
Favorite comedy movie?
That's a good question. I think I love too many, but I always say Step Brothers for this. Call of Duty.
Do you consider yourself good?
Not at all. Not at all. Once. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah.
I want to get it again, but the lines are too long right now. Favorite meals, probably the night before a game. Either chicken parm or a nice steak. The dad of the locker room. Probably Sam Kerr.
So when the things are normal, just probably go for the long walks or just in the summer to play different kind of sports and just hang out with my friends, with my girlfriend, with my family as well. So there's lots of stuff to do. Well, I've been pretty most likely on the pretty many beaches, so it's like it's kind of like something new for me because of course in my country we don't have it, so it's pretty nice to hang out there and spend some time on the sun. Oh well, it's hard to say. The guys are joking around all the time, so I don't know. Like I think every of them are just like the major. Like we are having fun in the locker room, so yeah, it's just like so nice to be there.
I don't know, man. It's a lot of pranks going on, but it's pretty hard to figure out who made all their pranks. So I don't really know yet.
Winter.
Summer.
Winter.
Vanilla.
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 Superman.
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 Burgers.
Tacos.
Burgers.
Sweets.
Salty.
Sweets.
TV shows. I actually just watched the Formula One show at Netflix. I really liked that one. It was really cool.
Coming up, you've probably seen them on the Gulls broadcast, but just who are the cardboard cutout fans? Some of them have ties to Brady Children's Hospital. That story and goaltender Jeff Glass are next as Gulls All Access, presented by California Coast Credit Union, continues. The San Diego Gulls are teaming up with Brady Children's Hospital to kick off their May Means Business campaign. This raises funds for comprehensive, compassionate care for more than 240,000 kids and families that rely on Brady Children's Hospital each year. Be sure to check out the auction during our upcoming game on May 1st to get your hands on authentic Gulls memorabilia and support the cause. The Gulls have also teamed up with Brady Children's Hospital, and they have a special section inside 5 Point Arena with roughly 40 cutouts of the Brady Special Section.
partnership allows us to share the great work Brady Children's is doing and support their efforts by providing unique experiences for their staff, patients, and auxiliary, and also assist on the fundraising side and do some fundraising on their behalf so they may be able to continue to care for the 240,000 kids and families that rely on them each year. So with a lot of the constraints that we faced in a unique season, we thought that these cutouts would be a really fun way to activate our partnership while also showing support for many of their frontline workers and VIPs, which to them are their very important patients and staff that have been, as we all know, extra busy. Brady was lucky not to be specifically affected with children being sick, but provided a lot of necessary care and supplies to surrounding hospitals that were stretched pretty thin during that time. So we were able to kind of give back and thank that group that were extra busy by having them enjoy a game with us, if you will. So when our season ends, we will be collecting all of these cutouts. So we will be having each player select one to sign just at random, and then we'll be delivering or setting up a time for these families to come and pick up their cutout to have as a keepsake along with the signature of one of our Gulls players.
Brady Children's Hospital is another example of the San Diego Gulls' engagement in the community. We'll now go back to the ice and have a conversation with San Diego Gulls netminder Jeff Glass, who has a very interesting story. Let's talk a little bit about your career and go back to the early stages. You played 4 years in North America after being drafted by the Ottawa Senators, and then you go over to Kakistan to play hockey. That is unheard of. That is not a known area for hockey. So I'm curious how your experience was playing in Kakistan in the KHL.
The KHL was first and foremost unbelievable hockey, but it really taught me a lot of life lessons. I think I had a lot of growing up to do, and I went over there and my values changed, and I really appreciated how much I loved the game of hockey, and I would do just about anything to come back and play in North America again if presented with that opportunity. So I went over there, and the ice surface was significantly bigger. They played a much more passing game over there. The KHL is known for its skill, highly skilled plays. So I had to change my ways. I had to change from being a puck-focused goalie that was assuming the shot was going to come every time to a guy that you had to get creative. You had to assume they were going to try these fancy passes because they would. And it really took my career to the next level and my game to the next level. And I'm very thankful for all those years in the KHL.
What drew you back to North America to play in the United States and Canada yet once again?
Yeah, it was just a dream I've always had to play in the NHL, and nothing changed by going overseas. I always went over there with the intention of coming back, but each year overseas, each year in the KHL, kept getting better for me. I kept finding a new team, a new experience that I welcomed, and next thing you know, I'm 30 years old, had yet to play a game in the NHL, and I was still had that on the bucket list of things I wanted to do. And I knew it was going to be a bunch of work coming back, basically starting over again. At that point in my career, I figured it was as good a time as any to come back and try that again, and so that's what I did.
Very noteworthy night for a kid who's been a pro for a long time. I shouldn't call him a kid. Jeff Glass will play in an NHL game for the first time ever.
Isn't that amazing? What a story.
Here's McDavid going wide, quick shot, save, good one by Glass on the leading scorer from a year ago. Had a real productive NHL career, but he'll snap this off, and a good blocker from Glass. And this glass is half full, baby. There's Jeff Glass, who plays in an NHL game for the first time, gets an overtime victory, 42 saves on his way to his first ever NHL win at the age of 32.
Is there any way to kind of put into words the journey that you've had to get to this point and getting that first NHL win at 32 years of age?
Yeah, no, it's taken a while, but not everybody's path is the same, and I'm pretty proud of my path. And it took me a while to get here, but I'm happy I'm here now, and now I'm just happy to help this way anyway, or help this team any way I can. There's a great goalie here, Corey Crawford, and I'm just trying to fill the gap until he gets back.
Because of what you endured, is that your greatest accomplishment in hockey?
It's got to be close for sure. Yeah, I mean, winning the gold medal with Team Canada. I was young then, but it was obviously quite an accomplishment playing on that team. But right there with it would be playing for the Blackhawks. I had a goal of playing in the NHL. I didn't think it would take me, almost 12 years of playing pro hockey to get to it, but it did, and I'm almost more proud of my story now because of that. So it was pretty cool to be able to get there. And looking back, it's memories I think very fondly of.
Well, there's got to be another great moment that sticks out too, and it's one that Gulls fans remember, and it's that conference finals run back in 2018.
It was obviously my first time playing for San Diego, and I got welcomed by the fans and the team and everybody just so well, and everything started to kind of snowball. It all started to kind of point in the right direction. When we were coming down the stretch, I remember thinking to myself, this is something pretty special here, and the first round matchup against San Jose was obviously great. It kind of went a little bit sideways one way, the other way, but we ended up getting out of that unscathed. And then the Bakersfield series was obviously something I'll look back on very fondly as well. I really thought we were destined for the finals and then a chance to win it. But things happen, and that's hockey. And looking back, I'm still not any less proud of those guys and everything we accomplished.
You mentioned that Bakersfield series, and it started off with the quadruple overtime game. That is one that has to live in your memory forever. And Gulls fans might say that is the greatest game that we've had in AHL history so far. Take us through that game and what you experienced.
It was one that you're obviously glad you won, but we knew at the time it was going to be pivotal one way or the other. If we won that series, won that game, we had a really good chance to win the series. It was going to be tough for the team that lost to come out the next night and have to play after that. So we hung in there. A couple really close calls, and yeah, when Max Comtois scored, I don't know if I've ever been so happy or relieved or what the emotion was, but guys were trying to get pizza in them in the intermissions and bananas and anything to just keep the body going, keep the mind sharp, and like I said, when that puck went in, I don't think I've ever been happier.
Well, after going overseas for one season, you return back to the San Diego Gulls. What does it mean to you to return to this organization again?
Yeah, I'm just very fortunate. You know, it was, like I said, some of my best memories came from that season and playing with those guys and the relationships you built with the staff and with the players and with the fans, and just in this whole environment is just such a first-class environment. And so to be able to be brought back into it, I couldn't be more thankful. And obviously very exciting that we got a bunch more new prospects coming along now that are, you know, very much filling those same roles of the guys that we had on that team. So you can see how guys fit in now and how they're kind of molding themselves into these players that are now playing in the National Hockey League. So it's exciting to see these new young guys coming along, and I'm just very thankful to be part of the Gulls organization.
Up next, we honor a person who is making a big difference in San Diego's youth. He's one of our Gulls' hometown heroes.
There wasn't places to go for kids that are experiencing problems on the streets, or drug problems, or alcohol problems, or homelessness, and I just saw the need for it.
That's next as Gulls All Access, presented by California Coast Credit Union, continues. Welcome back to Gulls All Access. Even though the Gulls are temporarily playing in Orange County, they still have a strong focus on the community in San Diego. One of those focuses is the Hometown Heroes program. And today, we look at an individual who is helping out with the homeless youth. Michael Shaw has been generously sharing his time since he was a very young volunteer.
I got involved in volunteering community service when I was probably 8, 9 years old. Convalescent home down the street from my house. I just like to volunteer and keep busy.
Now he's extremely busy, running all volunteer organization, Southern California Youth Emergency Services.
There wasn't places to go for kids that are experiencing problems on the streets, or drug problems, or alcohol problems, or homelessness, and I just saw the need for it. What we wanted to do was give the resources and the information to the kids where they are on the streets. Take that information to them, because so many kids out there, young ones, they have no idea where to go, who to turn to, who to call. So we just kind of wanted to be the connection between them on the streets and the organizations that already exist.
Michael and his organization drive the area in these vans, connecting local youth with services they need. and word has spread.
I have 18 messages on my answering machine right now from kids calling for help that want to go to programs, that want to go to rehabilitation. So finding the services and the space for them that's available in San Diego, it's a task and it's a nonstop one. But yeah, the need's definitely there. It's probably tenfold what it was last year.
As the number of youths using the service increases, the support group's offerings are growing as well.
Food items, snack items, things that they just want to have on the streets. Over here we have, this side over here is more hygiene items, deodorant, toothpaste, whatever we can make in a hygiene kit. We put together roughly 100 or 200 food and hygiene kits a day, go out in our outreach vans. And it's not really to supply them with these things, it's just when we're out there talking to them to give them things that they would use right there on the spot or may need. In here we make more of our lunch food items, our lunch bags. So this is our typical bag, Lunchables, Uncrustables, Capri Suns, chips, granola bars, just things that they can kind of take with them. A lot of these kids don't have, microwaves, ovens, kitchens, so we have to give them stuff that they can eat today. We'll be putting in more of a food bank / market, so they can come in and kind of get what they need. We'll be serving approximately 100 families a week, letting them come in and get a week's worth of food for a family of 4.
That's incredible. And all these done through donations and volunteers like Michael, who are there for San Diego's youth at a time of crisis. They are true hometown heroes.
We have no payroll. We've never had a penny in payroll ever, and I never will as long as I'm part of this organization. That's not really our focus. We weren't doing this to have jobs. We were doing this to help.
A big thank you to Michael for all the work that he and his team are doing around the community. That's all we have for this episode of Gulls All Access. Check us out in 2 weeks as we will take you behind the scenes on a television broadcast and everything that it entails right here on Fox 5 San Diego. My name is Andy Zilch for the cast and crew. Thanks for watching Gulls All Access, presented by California Coast Credit Union.